Good evening. Hello, everyone. We have no name or tag for this. What are we going to call you? Chickies? Hello, chickies. For those who are enjoying the Chicken Sisters. Um, while we wait for everyone to get in, I'm just going to say hi and see who's here. But I um, I had said when I did my interview with James Cott, by the way, if you've never seen that, you can go over to my channel. And I also put the link here in the comments. He plays Frank Jr., and Frank Jr. is a jerk, but James is not. But anyway, while we're waiting for everyone, I was saying that, as Italians, we make, hi Lillian, hi Christina, we make chicken cutlets often. It's not like we fry up chicken, it's not like we don't. But someone made me, but they did fried chicken. I have to tell you, it smells so good. And they did it with like chicken tenders. Oh my gosh. So we were trying to share last time in the comments. And if you weren't there, share here. What's like if you had to go out and get chicken, where would you go? Now, I have a wonderful meat market in Hamilton called Bagliani's. It's Italian. They make pressure cooker like fried chicken. Oh, that's delicious. But I have to tell you, this smells delicious and it's crispy too. Look at all the crispiness on it. And they made a biscuit. Not sure what I think of the biscuit because I haven't tried it, but I feel like I'm gonna be eating lots of chicken on Sunday nights. Now, someone had suggested some chicken places last time, and I did go and try one because I happened to be driving by. I'm not going to mention it because I don't think we're really supposed to, like, unless you're, I don't know, working together on a brand, even though I'm not sponsored for anything. But anyway, okay. So hello, Jennifer and Avis and Catherine and Rona and Carrie and Lillian and Christina and Nikki. How are you? And to everyone else that is here, but is not in the comments, which is fine. Okay, so like I said, it's always so weird when I'm by myself and I'm talking. I find it weird. I know you're out there, but I usually like to have someone near me so we can converse back and forth, but this will be fine. So when they launched Hallmark Plus, they gave us 2 episodes of the Chicken Sisters. We got episode 1 and we got episode 2. And Christina is answering my question from before. And she says, my family's restaurant, Fiesta Pizza and Chicken. So they make good chicken, Christina. I wonder what their recipe is like. I've tried all different kinds. This one has a batter on it. I have to tell you, I don't know what, I'll have to ask them. I don't know what they put as seasoning, but I know we're not supposed to eat on. I'm going to eat it anyway so you can hear it, but I don't know if you can hear it. Tell me. Can you hear it? It's crunchy, but it's super, super moist and tender on the inside. It has a really good crunch. Anyway, episodes 1 and 2. You watch both? Jennifer saying KFC. A friend of mine likes it too. Okay. A chef friend of yours likes KFC as well. I like KFC. All right. Okay, so episodes 1 and 2. We got one on the Tuesday because that's when they launched the premiere and or launched Hallmark Plus. And then we got one on Thursday, and Thursday is the real night, night that it'll be on. And then on Sundays, I will recap it. And if I can, we'll see if we can get anybody to come on and chat with us. Who knows? So Rona already says that she liked episode 2 better. I like both, but that first one kind of has to lay ground rules. And I don't like it when you're like Columboed and they tell you everything. Like even in a mystery when they have to talk about the whole story while you're held at gunpoint, or with a knife or you're going to die, and they go through the whole thing, and then eventually, because you're having such a big dialogue at the end of the mystery, finally, they come to rescue you. But in the beginning, I don't like to be told everything. I like it to be sprinkled in and feel like it was natural. And I feel like they did that for episode 1. It was sort of like laying the ground rules. But I have to say, and I marked this, in the first episode, the first 2 minutes and 31 seconds, I'm going to show you something. I always have to have, I don't have a lot of them, share my little slide presentation. This here's the narrator, if you didn't already know. Margot, that's her first name, and it's Martindale. Margot Martindale, she has been in many wonderful things, and she has a very distinct voice. Avis, you like the second one better too. And yes, the narrator is perfect. Thank you, Nikki. I think she's perfect too. I love all the little things that she says. She has some of the best one-liners. I know James said that there were a lot of great one-liners. Well, whoever's writing for her, she has great one-liners and I'm loving it. And she's turning out to be actually like my favorite character so far. But anyway, moving on. Oh, I should have her come on and talk with us. You love her too, Jennifer? Yes, she is good. She's a great actress. She has played some wonderful, like serious and then hilarious parts. She's like very good at what she does. Very seasoned, very good. Okay. So I'm going to move on. This is her telling the quick story of what was going on. And then within the first 2 minutes and 31 seconds, watch. This is just right off my TV. I just took this clip. They're talking about the girl who was jumping around, lost her hat, and half naked in front of the new pastor. Who, by the way, do y'all know who the new pastor is being played by? If you're a Hallmark fan, you should know that it's Matthew James Dowden. I'm so excited. I can't wait for him to come on. So he's playing the new pastor, and he's going to have a Southern accent. He's taking his English accent into a Southern accent, which I love. And then so this is like spicy, right? Spicy for Hallmark. They talk about her dressed and flaunting herself in front of the pastor. Where in Hallmark do they do that? Okay. So this is a little different here. I thought The Way Home pushed it a little bit. This one's pushing it too. And then we had the whole story between Franny and bouncing for the pastor. Really? I'm serious. Then we had the whole story of what caused this split between these two best friends. In the book, they were sisters, but in the story, they're two best friends, Franny and Mimi. And it was this whole thing where one gets pregnant and the other one suspects it's pregnant by her husband. And there's this whole, I'm like, oh my. Frankie was the thief in Tip Line Mysteries and was the guy Gus was with in the freezer, the cop on Tip Line 2. We'll talk about that, Avis. That's a good thing to point out. Okay. And then next, we see the wife. I mean, she is Frank Jr.'s wife, but I mean, she's purposefully talking about sex and she's all, done up and hanging on the bed for her husband. He doesn't have any interest. I'm like, is this Hallmark? Did I turn on the wrong streaming system? Spicy. And then even more more things that are just so not Hallmark is in episode 2. They have underage drinking and getting arrested kind of for it. I'm like, wow, they're really pushing it. And some people are angry over it, but I'm all here for it. I like it all. I mean, I watch Netflix, I watch everything. So I like this. There's something for everyone, and I'm okay with it. How are you feeling? Did you notice that it was a little more spicier than normal? All right, let's talk about Avis's question before we get any further. Frankie was the thief in Tip Line Mysteries. Yes, she was so Frankie is the daughter of Frank Jr. and Amanda, and she was the thief in Tip Line Mysteries. So it's like everyone knows each other. And Gus the cop. You know what? I felt like I knew him, not Gus, the gentleman that's in the freezer with Gus. I felt like I knew him from somewhere. I'm not sure if he is the cop or not. We will have to go back and look at that. Good eye. Avis, good eye. Yes, Avis, I know you're old, but you're not blind, okay? Or you're old and you're not forgetful. Remember that one when you were saying all that one night? Carrie, you're saying Hallmark Plus and then CA. What's that mean? I'm not sure what that means. I'm okay with it. Good. It's more real life than spicy. You know what, Lillian? You're right. It is more real life than spicy. I meant spicy for Hallmark. And then also we can do the food analogy because it's like, chicken sisters and about fried chicken. So spicy. Okay. I don't know what I'm getting. Hallmark plus CA. Help me out. I'm sorry, I'm by myself. Help me. Okay, so anyway, I already don't like and can't stand streaming can get away with more. Yes, yes, it can. I already can't stand Frank Jr., which means that the actor is doing a really great job. The writers wrote him to be a real, as Rona was saying, she didn't like him before at our last podcast because she had already gotten to see episode one. She didn't like how he treated his wife. I couldn't stand what he said to his mother in episode two. I was like, ooh. So anyway, episode one lays the ground rules, right? And we get to meet all the different characters. But one of the things that I found interesting was maybe we Frank Jr.'s father, even though they don't come out and say it, was not a nice guy. He seemed like a man, like especially when they said franny girls, like they had to suffer in silence. I'm like, what this is 2000 and what? When was this taking place? It reminds me of something that happened back in the 40s and 50s. You know what I mean? Like they're back in the day, back in the time, and very like got their thumb on women kind of a message, you know. I hope more of that gets explored. All right, Avis, I didn't care for the cursing at the beginning of the first episode. Avis, what was the cursing? I don't remember. I'm sorry. My family, I don't care. I'll put this out there because we had a family channel and people saw all kinds of stuff. My family always says bad words. They say bad words from when they're little. All the time there's bad words. So maybe I was deaf to it. I'm sorry. Hmm. I think Hallmark thinks that will attract new viewers, and Leah Thompson was even told she needed a man. Yes, Avis, this is what I mean about like what they were saying. Like, you need a man, very sexist, very like back in the day, very not nice. But I think this story will unravel. It was almost like a shock value it had to it. Yep, he's even worse in the second episode. Roni, he's terrible to his mother. The things that he said to his mother and how she behaved. Mine too. Oh, you're say bad words too, Rona. All right. Okay, so um I I don't know how you all felt about between the two sisters of Amanda and May. So what happens, and this is in the book too, if anybody read the book, Amanda from the, looking at her life, she looks like she's sweet and Cindy, you're not late. And she's sweet and she does the right thing and she's good. And May is like show offy, and even Nancy, who defends Amanda, because not only is she a daughter-in-law to her, she's a daughter to her. I mean, she got pregnant young, right? That's another spicy part with Frank Jr. and almost felt like, her mother abandoned her, but it wasn't because she got married young, Amanda, and had a baby. It's because who she chose to connect her family with, which says to me that there's some kind of hurtful, terrible background that happened to Gus that she hasn't told or shared with the kid, that her children, that eventually will unravel and come out. Um, growing up, the worst thing, Lily, growing up, the worst thing my mom would say was, "Oh, fudge." And Ava says, "Oh, I have family that does it at times, but I don't find it attractive because I hear on the main networks and other shows." I get you, Avis, but I think that it's just, I don't know. I think it's just the way the story's rolling. I don't think that it's because they're trying to attract people. I don't pay attention to whether there's cursing or not. And whether there's cursing or not does not attract me to something. I think it's you're sensitive to it, so you think that might be why they did it. But I don't think it was a ploy. I feel like it just fits with the tone of the story. I don't know. That's just my opinion. You don't want to hear it on Hallmark. I got you, but this one is a little different. This Hallmark. This is Hallmark Plus, and there is something for everybody on there. So I guess it's gonna stay, at least for this one, because it fits with the tone. But you're putting it out there and someone could be listening, so you never know. Anyway, it may Avis, you would have to plug your ears if you were at my house. Sorry. All right, so back to this. The two sisters. Amanda's with Nancy. Amanda is like, Nancy even protects her and says to her, she says, "You're good for nothing, mother." Like when she's talking to her, Nancy actually says to Amanda, "You're good for nothing mother and your spotlight stealing sister." And I thought, woo, you got words for that family. But I know she was riled up because she was trying to protect Amanda when Amanda was feeling bad about what was going down with the show. Now, I'm kind of going back and forth between episode 1 and 2. If you haven't watched 2, I'm sorry. But so basically, he's such an underhanded person. Gus, who is Augusta, who is the mom of Amanda, said she would do it if her daughter May could come back to help. And May says no, but then changes her mind because she gets fired from her show and decides to come back. But she comes up with an idea, um, Amanda does, of the money and sharing the money, and everybody will win. We'll get to do it. We'll at least be guaranteed, half of the money. And he's like, no. And then, no, is he, Frank, goes behind her back and says yes to the whole thing because he's like, well, then she can't now get out of it. And what an underhanded, selfish, jerky thing to do. He really is a jerk. He really is. So, I feel like his dad was too. I'm just hoping he has some kind of redemption arc. I don't know because I really don't like him, but what a fun character it must be for James to play. Um, Cindy said, I think with these characters, it's being realistic and the show wants to reflect that. I agree. I agree. But Ava says she gets enough of it. She just wants, I guess her Hallmark is her escape. But I think that's why Hallmark has branched out and they have a little bit of everything. So I don't know. Are you having strong feelings for Frank Jr.? Are you noticing that whole thumb on the women? How if you were a franny girl, you had to suffer in silence. There wasn't anything you could say. The part about when she lost her baby, Nancy lost her baby, and she had to kind of like suffer quietly, that made me sad, but I know that there's a lot of times that's out there like that. Makes me glad Frank Jr. is dead in the book. I know, I know. Ava says, I thought it was funny when the narrator said Gus thought hand holding was PDA. I know, because Gus is very much protective and we want to find out what's going on with her. I have a theory. So Frank Jr. is a spoiled brat. He is, who is only out for himself. He is. And he has such low self-esteem, and the mom always tries to pump him up, but that didn't work because Sabrina didn't care about him. And I love the way she just told him off because she's a strong woman. And I love when she said to Nancy, the camera loves you. You're good at this. And she kind of went with it, had a little push-up bra and everything. So you see her, and she looked funny. She looked like a tart to me, how she was all done up. She was funny, but I'm liking her. So okay, now we get to finally meet May, and we find out that May abandoned everyone when she wanted to just go do her own thing. But in order to do her own thing, she was sort of like, I don't know if y'all have this around by you, and I feel like I shouldn't even say these words, but Hooters. Did you ever hear of Hooters? That restaurant where the girls have like tight little things on, and I don't know, kind of sound. I don't know. I have to be careful. It can be considered demeaning, but if you're embracing it and you want to do it, you do it. But that's kind of like the type of restaurant that May was in. In the book, she was a stripper and she was okay with it. She owned it. Here, she's kind of like trying to hide it a little bit that she had that type of a job, but she put herself through college, which was amazing. Cindy's saying Frank Jr. is a great example of selfishness. Yes, you are right. So we meet May, who tried to reinvent herself. She comes back and she has a past, and apparently Sabrina is loving to jump on that. And Sabrina's the person who is, running Kitchen Clash. And Sabrina's a piece of work herself. Oh my gosh, donkey. I laughed so hard. Oh, okay, donkeys. I know the name of it. That was funny. She's a Hooters girl. I know. You all know what I'm saying there. Okay, so now May, she does like abandon her family, but then she comes back and and I shouldn't say abandoned. She just went on with her life. And her mother kind of understood that because there's a point where Amanda in the years ago says, May left and you still think the world of her. She left us. She goes, no, she left to leave this town to advance. You're leaving our family to join another family, which are like rivals. So even though we don't kind of know exactly why. But anyway, getting back to May, you think that May is the bad one or the bratty one or the selfish one. She comes in and she forgot all about her best friend, and here she didn't even know her best friend's mother died, and that he got married. That's Kenneth and Patrick, and they live back in town, and he's become good friends with her mother, and he immediately forgives her, and they're there painting and sprucing up the place, and she's learning all this stuff. And I love the word steamroll, that she's like, I steamrolled you, I steamroll everyone, I just come in and want to fix and do. And there's a history behind that. And probably always wants to be in control because she has panic attacks. I have someone in my family who is like that because she always has panic attacks. She's got to control everything because I think they need that. And she owns it. They have her own it. And she even says to her sister, I'm sorry. And she says this to her best friend and her mother, and she owns it. And what does Amanda do? Amanda throws her sister under the bus because she's so angry. So we realize that Amanda is not as sweet as you think she is, and May is not. You know what I mean? All right, so let's go back to this before we move on. I hope Sabrina doesn't air May's dirty laundry. She will. She absolutely will. She didn't even. She's such a clever girl. When her daughter gets in trouble, right? It's her daughter with the underage drinking. So Amanda helps her get out of it. And she says, I owe you. That's what Sabrina says. I owe you a favor, whatever. And she's like, great. Well, then please don't air out May's dirty laundry. And she's like, yeah, what makes for such good TV? And she says, but I know what I'll do this for you. It's like, so she's supposed to be helping her, but she's blackmailing her and says, I won't, focus on the fact that you and Sergio like each other, have all this chemistry. And Amanda's like, oh, and then she's like, what, So what a backhanded, okay. She's not nice, Sabrina. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Shallow. I know, but please do something with May's hair. She looks straight out of Hee Haw. She does. She did. She does. But you know what? They're going for that. I mean, they're going for that. I think that's hilarious. I liked in the second episode when the ladies were doing their faces with all the products and Gus just squirted a hose pipe in her face. I know. And she was done. She's a no nonsense girl. Rona says May totally forgot about her fiance. I know, totally. Ray, I think his name is, right? Or Jay. Wasn't Sabrina in all the Christmas is Evergreen movies? Yes, she was. She's been a Hallmark girl for a long time, and she's always played a sweet part. Now she's jerky. She's jerky like Frank Jr. So one of my favorite things so far is that we're going to have a preacher, and I can't wait to see how that is sprinkled in. And I can't wait for Matthew to come on and talk to us about this experience. And another thing that I absolutely love is May, because she's a hot mess and she owned it, which is great. Amanda is a hot mess and she doesn't want to own it. She's all, oh, I want a baby. I need a baby. And I love when she tells her husband she wants a baby because Frankie's so grown up and mean. And she doesn't like her. They don't get along. Oh my gosh. To me, that's hilarious. Also, the one-liners and the funny things that the narrator says, I'm loving that. And I'm looking forward to more. I wrote down one. She says, when she's talking about like, you think you could turn something into something it's not. And she says, you can put your boots in the oven, but that don't make them biscuits. Who thought up all those wonderful things? And now I want to talk about, and I want your point of view on this. What do you think about Gus, and I don't think I know his name. Do you know his name? Gus in the freezer with the young gentleman, always, he's all dressed up, with a shirt tied and buttoned all the way up, and then you in the car. I feel like they want us to think that those two are, and even the way she words it, but it's careful how she words it. You makes us the viewers want to think that there's like a fling going on, and she's with the younger guy. I don't think that's what it is. I truly think he's either something medical, whether it be a physician or maybe it's a therapist of some sort, because we do know that she has some issues. I love that Wendy Malick plays Gus. So do I. Doesn't she do a great job? I saw her in an interview and she said that she loves playing her, and there's a lot about them that's the same, but she in real life has better style, and she sure does. Older Gus with that hair is hilarious, but when she was younger Gus and her hair was real long at the wedding, she looked cute with her sun hat, but she's something. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Stole from Judge Judy. Those one-liners are the best. But tell me, what do you think's going on with Gus and her and the gentleman that we see her with once in the freezer, in the walk-in is what it is, and then him sneaking away, and then later on out in the field in her truck. I don't think it's a romance. I think it's more like, again, that maybe he's a physical therapist, a physician of some sort for her physically. Like maybe that's why she wanted May to come back. She wanted the help because physically something's going on. Or is it maybe emotional? It's her therapist, because after she got done talking to him, she came back and she was so agreeable. She's like, okay, fine. Because she has a hard time letting go. That's why she's a hoarder. She's like, okay, fine. You can make whatever changes you need to make. And then she makes some luscious, delicious chicken dinner for May, which makes me want to eat this chicken dinner. I can't wait. I'm not sure. Hopefully, we'll learn more later. I think a little at a time. What do you all think? I'm waiting to hear what other people have to say. So I'm excited about this. It's what, 42 minutes, I think, an episode. It's so cool that we don't get interrupted by commercials and it just moves along so like quickly. I like that I know the background information, but I don't like that I know where it possibly is going, because I've read the book, so I know what they might be taking from. They do have little changes, like the original Mimi and Franny's they were sisters, and here are their best friends that kind of split and they split because of spiciness. Maybe she's developing some Alzheimer's. Maybe she could. Something's going on, and I don't think for them to it's a like a romantic or sexual relationship. I can't believe on a Hallmark podcast that I'm having that all these kinds of words are even out there, but that's the kind of show it is. In the book, she's really sick, so I'm thinking someone medical. Yes, in the book, she is really sick, and I'm going with you, Carrie. Carrie, what did you think of the book? I loved it. I enjoyed it. And Carrie, did you read the book before we had the interview with KJ? Del Antonia, that's her full name. She's a doll. Or did you read it after? I'm just curious. And anyone that hasn't had an opportunity to read the book, it is different, not that much different, but it is different from what I've seen so far. And it's very good. And it's not romance. It's a book about relationships and all kinds of relationships: mother, daughter, sisters, friends, yourself, your relationship with yourself. Love the book, read it before. Okay. So that must have been exciting that you saw that it was being made into a movie. Good for you. Maybe he is a financial advisor or lawyer trying to help her establish her will. Maybe Avis. Yes, maybe. But then there was that part where she says, where it kind of makes like it's innuendo that they are a couple, but then there's not, where he says, they're afraid that of people seeing us together or knowing about us, because there's that whole stigma with mental health. So maybe she says she needs help, but she wants to do it on the sly, and her whole hoarding is a disease, right? Could be about that. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm glad that they kept the hoarding in because that was extremely important to who they are. It's part of the reason why Amanda left so early because she wanted her own family because home life was a bit of a mess because mom was by herself, did her best she could, but it wasn't that easy. And also why May left and reinvented herself and became this organizer and a control freak because she, lived in the life that they lived. And those two were so close, the sisters. And I'm happy to know that in the book they worked their way back. And I think that's what's going to happen with the show. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, I'm going to continue to recap. I'll recap. Next episode comes out this Thursday, and I'll recap it on the Sunday. There are other people who are recapping too. I think I saw that the Hallmark guys, they're going to be doing something, and they always have a hilarious take on things, and they're from the South. So I'm curious to see like the little things that they find and point out that I wouldn't even think of or see. And plus, they're guys, and they think a little differently than women do. And I like it because they get silly, I know, but they tell it like it is. So I'm curious to see what they saw. All right. If you don't have any questions or want to tell me something before I wrap it up, um, if you're here and you're a Chris McNally fan, oh, the cook is fire. Just saying, he is cute. He is a cutie. He very much is. Um, if you're here and you're a Chris McNally fan, just remember that on Wednesday, I'll be hosting a podcast with the admins Chris and Christina, and we're going to review and recap and go down memory lane with the Chris's part as Cal in Heaven. And if you are not a Chris McNally fan, you should check him out because he's a good actor, and check out our group. What's this before we go? The Cook is Fire. The book dropped a lot of fun bombs, so the cursing in show is nothing new to me. Me too. Me too. Um, Lillian, I can't stand the Deck the Hallmark guys since they trashed Chris McNally. Oh, I didn't know that they did. I never heard them trash him. Sorry. Okay. I mean, they had him on as his guest and everything. They trashed everything. They trashed they trashed the writers. They trashed the storyline. They made fun of the Kevin and Nathan. They trashed a lot of things. They trash his movies, but they like Chris. Okay, gotcha. Agree, Lily. And Rona says she's agreeing. Um, I never heard them trash the actor, but I do know they've trashed movies. Hmm. I know that. I know that. Okay. You don't have to watch. I'm just saying that there's might be a different perspective out there. All right, friends. I'm gonna wrap it up and I will see you maybe Wednesday. And if not next Sunday, when we get episode 3 of the Chicken Sisters. All right. Good night, everyone.